Hey, what's up, everybody? Onepeg here. So about an hour ago, SDF went to both the announcements channel and the general channels of Discord to talk about some things that are going to be coming up in the next week. This week, there's going to be a hotfix by the end of this week. Unfortunately, I won't be here for it. I'm going to be traveling to Loot Fest, and I will be there for the weekend. I will try to, keep informed about what is going on and give you guys an update video if I have the possibility of doing so. It might be on like a cell phone or something, but I'll do my best. He says that there's going to be a hotfix this week, including several fixes and balance changes. Additionally, we plan to extend preseason by 1 week for players who may not have had time to enjoy the season due to issues such as rollbacks. Once the preseason ends, a 2-week preparatory period for the next wipe will take place. During this period, various trials and drastic balance changes may occur. So by trials, what he means is the removal of duo queue, the addition of arena potentially, and also a modification of the matchmaking system, and possibly also a modification of server selection, which are all hugely wide swathing changes. Currently, the team is working on druids, focusing on the Ice Abyss deeper in Frost Mountain and its boss monster, the Frost Wyvern. Now, the Ice Abyss is going to be like the Inferno equivalent level of the Frost Mountain. We are also working on various systems. A Squire will be added as a new merchant and will greatly improve the convenience for players to access normal games. I would assume that this is like white quality gear, possibly gray quality gear, but white quality gear for all classes so that you can outfit yourselves in whatever way you need to in order to be able to run normals with like best possible gear normalized stuff. Additionally, an adventurer rank system for normal will be introduced. So again, for a normalized gear lobby, this will be very interesting as an experiment. My concern, though, is that the normal lobby was originally intended for newer players to be able to learn how to play the game better, and now it could end up being like this normalized gear lobby where people are trying to just beat each other out as best they can, and it starts turning into like PvP sweats for people that are gear normalized, which might not necessarily be a bad thing, but could also be a bad thing. You know, it could kind of go either way. Considering having a Goblin Merchant offer a dungeon recovery service, which will provide the opportunity to retrieve some of the items lost in the dungeon. Additionally, an Expressman will be added to safely deliver dungeon items. The Goblin Merchant with a dungeon recovery service is Tarkov's insurance system. Okay, like that should be pretty straightforward. This one, the Expressman delivering dungeon items, sounds like a dead drop, like the ability to be able to drop items with this person, and then this person would bring those items to your stash for you, so that way you're not always gear capped on your inventory, which sounds very interesting, especially in the case of High Roller, where this would change how that entire game mode is played. Because, like, I mean, if that's what this is, and obviously I don't know, I'm just really going by what they're calling it and how they kind of roughly described it. You could be PvPing with other people, you know, get some wins and then collect gear and then drop that gear to send back to you instead of having that take up your inventory space and kind of like ruining your run on the High Roller side, thus incentivizing PvP, et cetera, et cetera. So possibly really cool. This could end up being like a huge W change if that's the case. If the above system works as planned, we will introduce random matchmaking. If they do the dungeon recovery service, like this insurance system, and possibly also like this in-game drop to be able to send items back to your stash for yourself, they might do random matchmaking. If they're going to do random matchmaking, that's like no more meeting hall or whatever. You're going to hit go, and then it's just going to match you up with people if you're queuing for trios or whatever. Along with that, the duo queue will be removed, and solo trio will be available for all maps. These plans may change depending on test results. I realize that there's going to be people that are going to be annoyed by the removal of duos. I'm annoyed by it. However, if I may, just be devil's advocate for like a minutia of a second here, okay? My guess would be, based on my own experience and the experience of some other folks, that duos are the most dead of all of the queues. I went from Neophyte on a Warlock all the way to Demigod, playing on the Frost map in duos, and I had maybe 10 PvP interactions, and I got 5 PvP kills. So, you know what I'm saying? My guess is that they're removing this because it's probably the most dead of the game modes, and with solo and trio being the most popular, which would make sense. And while the above is a work in progress, work on the arena will also begin, and the initial version of the arena will be released not too long after the wipe. So we're looking at like 3 weeks, And then we would see Arena in like maybe 4 to 5. After wipe, quests will change and you will begin to actively use the chapter function. This is currently a work in progress, so I can't predict exactly what it will look like in the end, but it may take the form of a new chapter being released every week for the first month. So this is also incredibly interesting because now we'll end up having a content drip where it's going to be a block of quests and then we'll get those finished or close to finished, however you progress. And then the next block of quests will be released. Kind of cool, kind of interesting. Could end up tying into some cool lore kind of stuff. We are also considering removing region selection to solve some issues. Pre-teaming and cheating is a very serious problem, and we will do our best to address it and discourage it. So what is interesting about this one is it's going to be based around localized server selection, probably based on your IP address. So the idea of being able to select a region, like if you wanted to play in Brazil and you were on the East Coast, for instance, not that I know anything about that, you wouldn't be able to do that anymore. It's just going to queue you into a lobby, and wherever that lobby is where you're at. I'm assuming it will be based on the leader of the party, and that's where the queues would happen. A lot harder to manipulate, and obviously we can understand the reasons why they're looking at doing this. Maybe that alleviates a problem. Random matchmaking, though, I would probably be a little wary of. If you're going to end up doing random matchmaking, I probably wouldn't wear my best gear if I were you, because team killing is definitely a thing. Just to clarify, if duo does get removed in the future, you will still keep your duo rank for this season Smile. So for people worried about losing your rank, I guess that takes care of that. Very interesting changes. I don't know if I necessarily agree with them. Well, I guess I should say this differently. If the population of the game were a lot higher than what it is right now, and I mean like 5 to 10 times higher, like let's say they finally get clear of all the court issues and they're able to do a Steam release at some point in the near future. If that were going to happen and the population of the game skyrocketed and kind of sort of stayed that way, I could definitely see a scenario where duo queue returns. But as it stands right now, with the population being as low as it is, these guys are trying to give everyone the experience of what they intend the game to be while still allowing people some amount of freedom of choice. And that's a hard thing to do. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with what it is that they're doing, but I understand the reasons why they're doing it, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm not trying to, I don't want to like doom on them because I get why, but it's also disappointing. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, thanks so much for coming and checking out the video. I really do appreciate you being here. If you wouldn't mind subbing the channel, that would be fantastic. Thanks so much for lending me your eyeballs. I'll be live in the morning, 8 a.m. or earlier, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Okay? Thanks. Peace.